technology ya re shapa, ne? Hey, what's the king? But these millenniums have it under control, so clearly we have a thing to learn from them. Anyway, I'm in conversation with Linda Yende. If you don't know this guy, you're missing out. If you're not following this guy, your life is boring. Okay, it's a praise, but listen, Linda, you should have seen how when I said you're my guest, I started getting so many female requests and getting a lot of comments. I'm like, what is it that I don't know? I thought you are married. So what's happening? Okay. Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, hello. Okay, you know what? My countdown only just happened now, so I've
Ah,
only just gone live now.
I am so sorry. I was alone in this.
You were alone. You was talking to your damn self.
Listen, it happens often, it happens. People must just be lenient with me. This is my first. I was saying Oguti Linda is the guinea pig here.
Yeah, well, yeah,
It
I'm
happens.
very much the guinea pig, and I'm enjoying it. But obviously, I'm guessing that the people heard everything that you said.
I
They
was
just didn't hear
saying,
me.
yes,
Yeah, they
I was
didn't hear
speaking
anything.
alone,
Now
literally.
it's yeah, now it's saying live Mudimu, and it's saying live on your thing as well.
And we
That's
can
quite a
see each
cool thing. This
other.
we've been seeing each other, so that's cool. But it's a very cool app. This, eh? I like it. This very this setup. You are ahead of your time, girl.
Listen, I'm chasing Oprah one now. It's ke shota ka wine sena, but it would have been more interesting had I had wine with me.
I actually I made a margarita, and then I'm like, I know,
No,
on
how let jwala. How na le margarita? Pull up your margarita. I've got wine somewhere in the stashes. Let's get this party started. I Mara, you don't drink anymore. Anyway, so Linda, as the guinea pig, obviously this space is
yeah.
created to specifically be about men. I've had enough from women. I think I can almost tell what they're thinking, what they want, in my conversations, and a lot of the women that I coach as well. you know so I
Yeah.
think I have heard enough voices from women. I just thought it would be nice to just create a space where women just take the backseat and get to hear from men, about the issues that they think men don't know anything about, from dating, intimacy,
Yeah.
relationship, marriage, to everything, just to hear a voice ya monna, man. Really hopotse, eh? Like, we just miss
Uh,
hearing from you guys.
you miss hearing our deep
you know
resonant voices.
just the baritone, man. You guys don't talk. So do you think do men and women view sex the same? Do they view relationships the same? Do they view marriage the same? What?
No, no, we are. Oh my gosh, we are so different. We
Do
are
tell.
so
This is a
different.
tell
Okay,
all.
all right, okay, all right. So we're gonna start with, you said sex. I don't know why you chose sex first, because we're gonna
Tirarada.
end up not we're gonna end up not going into any of the others because we'll be stuck on that one. Look, I think you know this. I'm sure you've heard this many times that our view on sex is obviously shaped from a young age. And from a young age, we kind of taught, you as a girl, you are taught, "Khorbona, do not give away that cookie. Keep that cookie here."
Mm,
All right. So our roles from day one are different. We're sitting and we're watching the older guys bragging about the fact that they're already having sex. So it's like, okay, so having sex is something to be proud of.
it
And the
makes me a
more you
man.
do it, yeah, and the more you do it, the more you are somehow treated with respect, and the more you're kind of elevated, there's a certain status elevation to it. The first guy in our crew that had sex, and whether
Mm.
he actually did it or not, we still don't know. But the first guy that did it, he was like, he became this guy. He became the center of our group. He's the guy that we would sit there and go, so how does it feel? What is it? Whatever, whatever.
Mm.
So the bottom line is our roles are very different. I don't know whether the same can be said nowadays, but I do know that back in our days, even if a girl had had sex already, she'd still claim she was a virgin
Mm.
in our day. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
our approaches were very different. For you, it was, oh my gosh, no, I would never. And for
So what
us, it
does
was,
sex mean to you guys, Gamti?
oh my
To
gosh,
us, it means we
it's
are exclusive, we're in a relationship, we
oh
love each
goodness,
other,
good
we
God,
are
no,
feeling each
good God,
other.
no. Good God, no. Okay, firstly, I think I started with the historical part because I believe it's a rite of passage. It's that thing that says, it's a little crown on your shoulders. Let me tell you something. Every single development that has ever happened in mankind has been as a result of sex. Everything that we have done, for a man to sit there and say, you know what? We all stay in caves, but I want a better cave so that I can
Mm.
have better women, so that I can have, because let's be honest, whatever it is that you do to make you the alpha male is what then guarantees you sex. You
So,
have an advantage over the other guys.
mm,
So everything we do, if it listen, if it wasn't for sex, we'd all just be sitting on our couches watching Netflix and not trying to do better and make more money and to have better lives and have better clothes and what. We don't care about clothes. We care about clothes because of y'all.
so how do men then decide on which women they want to sex and which one they don't? Do you guys have women that you don't want to sex? Let's start there.
I can't think of any.
So everything just goes
No,
as long
okay.
as they're legs.
Okay, let me put it like this. And I had a very healthy debate about this one with somebody the other day on Facebook where I was saying, we always say that there's no way you can steal somebody's somebody.
Mm.
That phrase, like, "Ooh, how do you steal a whole entire human being?" And there's certain truth to that statement, but there is a flip side to it. And I use the analogy which I hope makes the most sense for ladies. All right, have you ever bought something just because it was on sale, even though you
Yeah,
didn't,
you
you
didn't
didn't
need it.
you didn't need it,
You didn't
you
plan
probably
on
didn't even
buying it. You just bumped into
you
it.
didn't yeah, you probably didn't even necessarily liked it, but it was like, oh,
Mm,
but the price is so good,
such
and
a
you bought it.
bargain.
Such a bargain. All right, now take that very same analogy and apply it to the fact that there could be a woman that you're not necessarily attracted to, but because she's showing you attention, because she's,
Heaven.
and you're like, oh, it's a bargain. Good luck.
Wow.
These
And with relationships, where
well,
are men with that?
okay, well, see, that's a different story because then relationships have a certain inherent ownership, and we love ownership. So that's a different ball game altogether.
Mm.
But in that instance, obviously, then you do actually want somebody that you truly want, that you truly like. You're not just going to fall into a relationship with somebody because. But having said that, men have also figured out something, and that is there are women who will not have sex with you unless they're in a relationship with you.
Okay,
So, in as much as
that's interesting.
women fake orgasms, we can fake relationships.
Ah, that's low. That's below the belt. Ay, 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 ay. What?
These are facts. These are facts. This is why Come on, you know this. You're a black
I
woman.
am
You
writing this
know.
down. Wait, let's say this again. Say this slowly. Wait. This is gonna make headlines. Like this one I'm writing to Cyril Ramaphosa about. You say women can fake orgasm and
Orgasms.
men can fake relationships. Okay, break that down to us. You can't just say that and not elaborate.
As I said, we figured out that there are women who will not be receptive to you just going to her and saying, "Listen, I find you attractive, and I think I'd really like to have sex with you."
Mm,
In a perfect world, in a theoretic world, women say they're okay with that, with a guy
mm,
doing that.
mm.
But in reality, women still want to be lied to. They still want you to come there and say, "Oh, you're the perfect combination of sexy and cute. You are whatever." They still want you to say all these things that make them
Mm,
feel relationshipy.
But how would you then
Because
perceive a
I
woman
about
who
to only
says,
get cheap.
yeah, how would you then perceive it? I get it, women still need stories. How would you perceive
Yeah.
now a woman who didn't need stories? Who was like, I know. Does it
Oh,
change your perception of her? Does it make you respect her less? Does it make you,
personally,
do you even,
I respect her more.
mm,
Personally,
okay.
but there is a big but. I've
Mm,
got to kind of clarify this one. That I'm a I don't want to call myself enlightened. I don't want to call myself new age or whatever. But there's certain guys who are still quite traditional in their mindsets.
mm,
One, more importantly, two, when you have a low self-esteem as a guy, you kind of have this assumption that when a woman gives it up easily, when a woman offers or asks or wants to have sex with you or have a relationship with you, even if a woman asks you out, for a lot of guys, their fear is it means this woman does this all the time. He doesn't sit
let it
there.
confuse. Let it confuse.
No, no,
Leave
no,
it.
but
Do you
no,
like
but
us
understand.
sexually liberated or not?
This is the thing. A liberated guy will like a liberated woman, but a
Okay.
guy who's still stuck in the 1950s, you've got a problem there because that guy, his self esteem will not let him believe, Jorge, you saw something special in him, and he's the
Mm.
one you went and did this to. In his mind, it means you do this all the time. It means you just when you walk up to guys, random guys, mostrating, and you go, "Hey, kakopa," in his mind, and that's the problem. So
Yeah.
you do need to sort of know who you are speaking to before you
So
you you make you make that move.
so as women we should be prioritizing what the how guys perceive us. What should we or our own sexual? Because I've got sexual needs as well. I want to get laid.
Yeah,
I wanna.
yeah, yeah.
So so
Look,
how do I structure myself in a way that I get my needs met, but I also then sustain a reputation with,
to be honest with you,
or is it one over the other?
you can't make an omelet without breaking the eggs. You've got to just say, you know what, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be okay with the fact that some idiots will perceive me to be somehow. Do you get what I'm saying? Or there's
Mm,
certain things that you've just got to be willing to own and say, "Bon, this is
own
who I
biggest lie.
am." Yeah, yeah. If
it,
if
it, it,
if 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 that's the label that's going to happen, and
mm,
the reality is this: I've said this so many times. Sometimes, um, even that term and that label, yeah, slut, is very much a perspective thing.
mm,
For a woman who's only ever dated one guy and then ended up marrying him, she's only ever known one guy's naked body.
mm.
If you've dated three or four, you're a slut. It's all relative. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating, but you get my point.
but I get it.
It's all relative. The
Yeah.
woman who has only dated three or four guys in her entire life, if she meets a woman who has dated 10, she's like, "Yo, Mudimu, how? 10 kaofela ba hlobotswe mo pela hao. Wow."
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And there's a woman
Yeah.
who's slept with 10 guys who looks at a woman who has slept with 100 guys and she's like,
So tell me, Linda, I mean, there's this thing called multi-dating now, right? Men have always done this, actually, in my observation. Men have always multi-dated, and that's how they then decide, well, okay, now Makabelo is the one because I have something to compare her with, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when a man decides he wants to get married, chances are he will multi-date, so that he's got facts, had decide, oh, Makabelo is the one or whatever. Whereas, and in that sense, a man saves time because a man will multi-date, let's say for 6 months. Every month, until there's maybe like two remaining or whatever. And when he decides I'm ready, he'll do it, But he had options to decide from, and so kucho uchuza based on comparison and not necessarily based on. Do you understand? But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I find that women tend to date one guy at a time for 2 years and then date another. And then she takes time off to heal for a year. And then she
Mm,
goes on to date another guy. So in a period of 6 months, this guy has dated six women and has found his wife from that whole process. Whereas a woman will
yeah,
take
yeah.
7 years and still come out single and say, well, men are not.
True,
So how would you
true.
advise women?
And the worst thing is, you see, there's this thing of women are romantics
Mm,
and they take on projects and they're like, no, Bon, I'll make this work. I'll make this work. I've often used the example, Yahore, this woman knew from the get-go that she wanted a black Audi. But she
mm.
went and Atola a good bargain on a red BMW, and she's like, no, I'll somehow turn this red BMW into a black Audi.
Mm,
And she's going to spend 2 years making this red BMW miserable because she wanted a black Audi. She's going to be
mm.
miserable. The red BMW is going to be miserable for a full 2 years. And then at the end of it all, when she eventually breaks up with this red BMW, she'll be telling everybody who will listen how tiny the red BMW's penis is. And the reality is, she was trying to make something work that was not for her.
So then, should women change the way they date? Should women change the way they decide on men?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They need to be more brutal,
Okay, they need to be more selfish
more
as well, I think.
selfish, more, yes. Sit there and
Yeah.
be immediately willing to say, you know what, this is not for me. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm cool. No, thank you. Be okay with that.
Mm,
Be
mm.
okay with that. Be okay with stating what it is that you want. Because that's another problem is women are out there, you meet a guy and the guy says, no, we're just kicking it. We're just hanging. We're just all
Kanti
these.
lona halitofali, when is this kicking it ends? I mean, we're in our 30s, 40s now, we're still kicking it. Where's
I born. How old was George Clooney when he got married? And he was,
What?
no, think
Are
about it.
you
And
taking it there?
he was still considered an eligible bachelor because there's no such thing as le fetwa for a guy.
La monna.
Yep, there's no such thing.
Hey, so I'm going to read one of the comments. I think Edgar says the best conversation I've ever had, especially from Facebook. Respect, guys, keep it up. Hey, high five, Linda.
Nice one. Nice one.
um, uh, and then I've got other comments, but I'll go through them as time goes. But basically, I think women are still shocked. Isn't it interesting where women get shocked with facts that they know and they see? Why is it that we're turning a blind eye on these things? What you're saying is not new to any of
um,
us.
it's not, but the reality is, see, people are so hell bent on sugarcoating things. People are so hell bent on sugarcoating these things and not telling it like it is, to the point where when you do tell it like it is, or when you do just blurt it out, it kind of people are taken aback. They're like, "Whoa, what? Really?
So,
How?"
so are
Um,
women their own worst enemies when it comes to dating? Because it seems like we
oh yeah,
self-sabotage.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Who do you think judges you the most? Because it's women who will judge you the most. It's
Mm.
women who will be out there saying, "Oh my God, did you see what she was wearing? I can't believe she was showing those stretch marks." It's women. Women do that
To each other and to self.
to each other. That is a reality. And you sit there and you think to yourself, okay, so um, if I'm getting that from women, guys must be judging me even more. We don't care. We're not bothered.
You're not bothered. What do
No,
men care about when it comes to
no.
relationships?
Look, I think the biggest thing, and it's such a funny thing. I've heard this. I've even heard this going all the way to the level of priests and pastors and whatever. That the thing that is most important to men is actually respect more than love. And love is
Maybe you
great. It's
guys
nice
need
to be
to,
loved.
yeah, but you
But
guys, wait, this
respect is a
modern,
big one for us.
so there's a difference between respect, yeah, dating back to our parents and modern respect. When we, in the modern
Of
times, what
course.
is respect now?
Of
What does it
course, no,
mean
and
to a
and
man?
and and you're so right. Because see, a lot of people, I think they think, or when you say respect, unanori, you're saying, oh, tshwantse o mpitse baba ka mo ntlong, or
I
tshwantse o
must be
phapate
submissive.
matsogo,
Eh, eh.
and you must utlise dijo ka tray
Mm.
le fatuke tjhesang.
Ka mangwele,
Ka
yes.
mangwele. No, that's not what respect means for me. You know, when somebody respects my vision,
Okay.
when somebody respects my 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 dreams, when I say to her, look, this is where I'd like to see us, this is where I feel so validated when my woman says, oh my God, that sounds good. And
Wow.
honestly, I'm not saying that she must always just go along with
Mm,
whatever I'm saying. You know,
mm.
there must be times when she's that sounding board where she's like, okay, but what do you think? Do you really think that'll work? What do you think about ABC? But don't bash my dreams. You know, I've said this so many times that one of the first things that happened when I met my wife, she wasn't my wife then, when I met her, was that she would always talk about this amazing book that I'm writing. And the book wasn't even a reality quite at the time. It was, yeah, I had written quite a lot, but to hear her speak about it, it was a
Mm.
bestseller already. It was like, Bona, it's gonna
Wow.
do well, and Bona, it's gonna be the next
I
great
can
thing.
see you doing this thing. I can,
Right. And
yeah.
and I suddenly saw myself through her eyes. I suddenly saw my greatness through her.
So you basically, when a man says respect me, and they mean see what's worthy and lovable about me, but see,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't sugarcoat, but still be able to see the king in me.
it's so interesting because I never thought of it that way. I've always thought hore ha motho a re respect, they mean don't shout, don't raise your voice at me, um don't talk to me back when I'm wrong, keep quiet when I'm wrong. Um
No, especially that last one is a no-no.
yeah.
But all the others, I kind of get it. Jorge, there is a way to actually resolve these things without resorting to shouting, without resorting to
Mm,
swearing, without resorting to
mm,
whatever. And there's a phrase that my wife taught me: fight lovingly. Oh my God, I
mm.
I love that phrase with a
Tell us
passion.
about this fighting lovingly. Teach us,
This,
women. Teach us. How
it,
do we
it,
fight lovingly?
you know what? When you're fighting with somebody, you've always got to remember that after the fight, you need to get back to loving this person. You need to get back to being a couple
You
again.
don't fight to exit.
Bona, fighting, Moilongori, you want to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at me. Literally or figuratively. Like, you want to, at that time, you're feeling angry, you're feeling hurt. So your goal at that point in time is to hurt me as well, to make me feel the pain that I'm making you feel.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing you could ever do, because words spoken in anger cannot be taken back.
Mm. So here's a
So
question
you
for
fight
you.
lovingly. Yeah.
Okay. Martha Ora,
Yeah.
how do you respect a man when you are being disrespected on the other hand? And I think the fact that you defined what respect is, but maybe like I don't know, she says, how do you respect someone when they're disrespecting you?
Okay. Look, I understand where it's always got to be a two-way street.
Mm,
There's no doubt about that. A person should not and cannot have expectations when they're not dishing it out.
mm,
However, in as much as it's a two-way street, you can't let people's behavior define who you are.
you should
You
come with your
can't
own
let
standards.
people, yes, come in and say, this is who I am. Why does a person's treatment of you then change you as well? And especially if it's for the worst. You
Mm,
know, you've already taken a conscious decision, or nah, I'm a respectful person, I'm a kind person, I'm a
mm,
loving person. Yeah? And then along comes this person into your life, and for some reason, because they are full of crap, you decide, okay, so I'm gonna meet them at their level of full of crapness. What kind of relationship are you gonna have there? The
mm.
reality is, you either stay as you are or you exit that relationship because it's turning you into something you are not.
Yeah. So Linda,
But
when
do
is a
not
woman?
allow it to change you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Sorry to interrupt you.
Mm.
So
No, 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 cool.
when is a woman not ready to date? Because I think we struggle with being lonely as women. So we find
Mm,
ourselves
mm.
often in relationships just because of the pressure of having a relationship. People don't take us seriously when we're not in relationships or when we're not married. I'm telling you,
What does
as
that?
a dating
What
coach,
does that
no,
mean?
no, listen, this is a personal experience. As a dating coach, somebody would say,
Yeah,
um, are you married when? you know,
yeah. I hear you.
Forgetting
I hear
whatever
you.
I am teaching you or whatever I am sharing or whatever self-development I'm giving you has nothing to do with the fact that so often that becomes a barrier, almost like whatever intelligence you have, whatever skills and development, forget who you're qualified in this, forget, are you married when? I mean, so yeah, I mean, why are we not?
Okay, I think your situation, what you've just described now, is a bit unique, and it's not a typical woman's experience. And I'll tell you why. Because it's almost like somebody teaching you how to cook when they don't know how to cook. If you get what I mean, it's an extreme example. If you're gonna coach me, I'd like to hear you say that. Trust me, these work. I know that my career, my book, my advice, my everything went
Works because you are married.
completely this way. It went way up as a result of people
Of you
seeing
being married.
that not only am I married, I'm happily married. My it seems that I'm practicing what I'm preaching.
Yeah. So forget
Um,
everything. I could be teaching better than you. I could be giving more value than you, but forget it. The fact that
well,
you are not.
it's
Can I just get a
ultimately
husband, please? I need my life to
the,
be taken seriously.
the question is always, okay, so if what you're teaching is so great, why isn't it working for you?
Yeah.
You know,
Look, in the
unfortunately,
fairness of it, I
that is the reality.
yeah, that's a reality. And in the fairness of it, I can understand that. But also, I think that people should give you you know, there's this thing about you can be a coach and not a player,
And not a
right?
player. Yep,
But
it's
you
true.
can be
It's
a
true.
damn good coach, and you can get the best out of people and your players. You see
Okay,
their
all right.
strengths, you see their weaknesses. You're like, oh, you know what? You are better suited here and there, and not because and anyway, this wasn't about me, so we're making this about me. Hey, I'm closing
Okay,
this
okay.
conversation. It's getting
Let
too
me
personal.
okay. One last thing. One last thing there. I'll stay on your coach analogy.
Yeah.
All right. How you judge a coach's success
Mm.
is not on how he plays soccer, but on whether he's winning games with his team.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Now,
Um,
sadly, the winning games, if we now bring the analogy back to you, would be winning in your relationships as well.
Fair enough, fair enough. But also, where I fail, I am more likely to make you succeed because I know the route to failure. You understand? So I know, Hore, Mamela, don't go there. I have been there. Hey, Juan here,
These
you
are
know,
all the things you shouldn't do.
don't do that. Don't be a better person. Don't. You know, I always say, Hore,
No,
the
it's
way
true.
that
It's
the way that I've always said what makes me do what I want, what I love doing is that I'm okay with being the demo. You know, before the real deal goes out, there's always the demo car where it's just tested, and you're like, and you're like,
the
everything that's gonna
prototype.
go wrong, it's
The
gonna go
pro- the
wrong
prototype.
in the demo process, in the testing phase. You know, and so everything that's gonna go wrong
Yeah,
in relationships is gonna go wrong in my relationships.
it's gonna
And then
go
I'll come
wrong.
back and be like, guys, come fix it.
I'm
There's a
I'm
default
okay
here.
with that. I'm
Yeah,
willing
no,
to let
you
that
know,
happen.
there's a default here, guys. Don't take it out to the market yet. There's a default here. Anyway, there's a comment from Lerato who says, my people, Aralinda is frank. It's one of the things I respect about him, or I respect him for. I prepare myself to hear uncomfortable truths when I go to him for advice. On the point of why women are shocked, I think it's because we believe we are different, better even than other women. Do women do that? Do we compete? Do we think, okay, what do women do men ever compete on on being a better man than the other men? Do you guys compete like that? Do you how do you quantify a man being better than you as a man? Because how we
Um,
quantify a woman being better than me is, for example, if she has gotten you to get married to her, then by virtue it means she was better than me because you chose her over me. So it's always around what a man has decided that makes her better. Or do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I get you, but I think we in that regard we all similar. Let's be honest. I mean,
Okay.
think about it. The probably the biggest ego bash or ego crash you can ever do to a man is cheat on him, because then he's immediately thinking it means that guy's better than me. So there's no doubt about it. We are in competition with one
Okay.
another in the same way in that regard. However, women just hate other women, man. It's crazy. Like you
It's
you
crazy,
can't
right?
stand you can't stand to see another woman doing
Happy.
better than you. In fact, you can't stand. Try this. Go to a party and find yourself wearing the same outfit as another woman. Yes, sis, the dirty looks you're going to be giving that woman. It's like you're like, who wore it
I
better?
look better than her in it. I look better than her in this.
yes,
But it's
you're already
interesting
there.
that you should say that. You know, I've said, Hore, put men in a room for 5 minutes, ne?
Yeah.
And all they'll know about each other is what car does he want to drive? What car does he like? What sport does he like
What
or
sport does he
favor
like?
in?
What soccer
No,
team he likes? Yeah.
put women for 5 minutes together. I will know how Linda has dogged Lerato out, how Linda has done this, how Lerato was mistreated, how I will know the wound stories, the most horrible. Like we bond over negative things naturally. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
for me to feel like another woman has got my back is if we've all experienced um bad things together. Like we even compete and exchange war stories. You know, women compete about bad story. Are wena o cheatetse fela nna tla ko jwetsa o nkentseng. O ile a ncheatela a mo phekisa like we're
Yeah.
always trying to
Uh,
overdo the bad stories about
outsuffer each other.
you know
Yeah,
Like, no,
I
I've
I
suffered
I,
more
I
than
know
you.
that.
I
Yeah.
therefore deserve I deserve him more than you know? But like, Linda, so what do men make of intimacy? What do men make of that? And I know intimacy is broad. For me, I would say just the moment of being available to the other person in physical terms, in emotional terms, in spiritual terms, in how what do
Yeah.
men make of intimacy? Are men capable of being intimate?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? It's a very I think that once again that's the point where we're able to blur lines. Let me tell you what I mean by this. Sometimes we are even capable of being intimate with somebody that you actually don't feel much for. So
Okay.
what do I mean by this? As recently as yesterday, I was speaking to a woman who says to me, she got into this shagmate arrangement with a guy. It was just an
Mm,
arrangement, nothing more. They were kicking it, they were having fun. But this guy, man, no, man. Bona, like what shagmate stays with you for a whole weekend? You chill, you stay in bed together, you go out, you even go to the mall. Nyana. This is supposed to be an arrangement.
mm,
The reality is, it's not because this guy suddenly wants more necessarily.
mm.
It just it felt okay. He did it.
It's
It
convenience.
don't read too much into it.
Hmm.
Do not read too much into it. The guy sometimes ha to come visit. He comes in utwere toolbox ya high because he noticed your door handle is falling off.
Mm.
Hey, she looks. She's like yo. This is a husband, mus. Because you idealize these things. He just saw a problem and decided to,
Yeah.
to solve it. So back to the issue of intimacy. Jorge, we are capable of blurring lines sometimes, and be intimate with somebody that you don't really have those kinds of feelings for. And for you, it'll mean something completely different as a woman
Mm.
to us. For the guy, it's like, yeah, okay, sharp. It's what we were doing during that month when we were together.
They can distance themselves. They can
Yeah,
be intimate and distance themselves.
and distance
Whereas when we
themselves.
get intimate, we
Ah,
are
bon,
we must
those
be
are
together.
lifetime memories. Those are
You
lifetime. Now, I'll tell you something. I made a very interesting observation a couple of years ago. You know
know?
when you talk to Macabelo and she says to you, "Yeah, no, Linda, yo, bon, he's the one that got away. We used to have such an amazing time. This and that and that and that and that." And that." And you go talk to Linda and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, we kicked it for a month or two." There's a big divide between those two stories.
Yo, so when now
There's a
I say you
massive
got
divide.
away, we could have been
You,
happy. When now we
Bona,
kicked it. We kicked it.
we kicked it for a month or two.
La
Like,
retella Maralinda.
no, but it's because you read more into what was happening. He read less into what was happening. The answer is probably somewhere in the middle, but it just goes to show, Jorge, you were both speaking very different languages.
But now, Linda, okay,
You,
how does a woman know when a man loves her? Because it's clear now we're just reading into the wrong things. How does a woman know when? And I said this the other time in the other group where I said, it's funny that we know now what red flags to look for if a man doesn't like you. We know if he doesn't spend time with, if he doesn't do this, but we don't know what to. We don't know the positivity of it. We know that the negativity red flags, or if I saw
yeah,
this was wrong for me, but we don't know the guys to run to. We know the guys to run away from, but we don't
I hear
know.
you. Okay, I hear you. I think there's you've
Because
always
we
got
tend to
to,
focus on the bad so much that we
yeah,
don't even
yeah.
know what.
You need a balance between words and action,
Okay, school us.
because there is such a thing as empty words, where somebody says they love you, and but how sheba the way that they're treating you, how sheba their actions, you're like, eh, I don't know. But because in your mind you were dating Bongani, who was um, the kind of guy that shows you love kadi actions but could never actually say it,
Mm,
or the kind of guy that was just reserved with words, you start reading into people's actions because you're thinking maybe he's just reserved with words. Do you get what I'm saying? So you need a
mm,
healthy balance between
mm.
what a person is saying
Does what he
and
say matches what
how
he does?
and how he, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is possible for somebody to love you and show you they love you, got the action stubborn. But
Mm.
just being there doesn't mean he loves you.
He loves you. Yeah,
Just
right.
spending time with you, uh, um, uh, uh, coitus blinds people. It makes
Mm.
people think it's love.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fine. If he didn't love me, why on earth does he come and have sex with me
He
three
comes in at
times?
3 a.m. Like,
Yes,
like
yes.
women justify the shittest things and say it's
Like
love.
born off. Yeah, it's
Like he
like
was there the whole weekend
no
feeling that.
robala. Yeah, no, no robala. Like he couldn't go to sleep born. No, dude, he was done with his day's shenanigans, and he's like, all right, so where am I spending the night? Okay, sharp, I'll
Mm.
go to her. Guy calls you at 3 a.m. and you take it as a compliment. What is? Whoa!
Let me tell you a
Like,
story about that, the 3 a.m.
yeah,
Girl. So there's two scenarios, and we say, how cheap is your pussy, right? Two scenarios is that, yeah, well, basically what happens here is there's two girls, the good girl. And the reason why this scenario was done was because I wanted to show Hore good girls can be used just as badly. And the sluts tend to get away with it because they benefit so much from it. So technically they are not used. It's always the good
yeah,
girls who end up being
true,
used. So how
true.
cheap
They're being
is your
screwed on
pussy?
their terms.
How cheap is your pussy is basically saying, okay, there's two girls. There's KB the slut and there's Lerato who's the good girl basically. KB the
Mm.
slut, I never phone like a Friday at 7 and say to her, no, let's do something. I've already made plans. I have
She's already there. She's
Yeah,
already
no,
at the
no, I've already
plans.
made other plans. You can't just call me Gasoline. You need to call me in advance and make. And
Sure.
besides, KB the slut, if you are gonna want her to leave her house to come to you or for whatever, number one, you need to Uber me from my house to wherever we are meeting. Number two, you need to dine me and before I can just give it up. And number three, basically it's the difference between a woman who knows the value of her time, her presence, and her attention, and the woman who doesn't. Then there's the Lerato who's the good girl. Hi KB at disappointed Linda, right? Hi KB at
Mm.
disappointed Linda. Linda will call Lerato at 10 and say, do you wanna come over ing. And lerato wa batho na robetse a kene hara dipijama o tlo tsoa instantly as soon as I wanna call e kenang. She's so excited that you know what, she's like, I'm on my way. And then Linda says to her, by the way, I haven't cooked, so please bring supper on your way home. Number one, I must get up in the middle of the night. This lerato must get up in the middle of the night. She must use her own petrol to get to you. She must buy you food on the way. And when she gets to your place, there's dishes, there's whatever, because she's trying to be this good girl. Also cleaner before. And then and then you have sex with her, lousy sex at that. And then at 6 a.m. you're like, oh, I remember I have golf. So which means she must be out of your house by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas KB didn't even give you the time of the day. She was busy. Or if she does give you the time of her day, then when now you have to go, you a good 3,000 rent for her to just make time for you. And it's not even about the money per se, but it's just about how you, how easy it is for a woman to be used and how easy it is for a woman to know that her time, her attention, and it's worth so much more, you know. So basically, how can women value their time more when it comes to guys? How can they value their investment more? How when should you invest in a guy and when should you not?
Okay, I'll tell you something. You said there's two kinds of girls,
Yeah,
but I
the good
strongly
girl
believe
and
this. I believe there's a third one.
okay. Let's add the third one.
And the third one is, in many ways, kind of in between these two.
Okay.
In that the one on the left, the one the KB,
Mm,
the bad girl, the slut.
yes.
Um, uh, but by definition, what you've kind of described there is somebody for whom um, currency can still buy.
Okay.
Which means if you have an abundance of it, then you can get
You
away
own her.
with
You own
anything with
her.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get away with
Okay.
anything with her. And that's a problem too, isn't it?
Mm,
And similarly, it also means that that's the kind of girl who might miss out on a good guy just because he happens to have a very lean bank account.
mm,
You've just described spending 3 grand just to get the girl to be for a guy who's earning who's netting 10 grand. That's a third of that's 33.33% of his
mm,
salary.
mm. On
Do you
just
see
one
how
night.
now similarly you've got a guy for whom that 3 grand is not even 1% of his net.
Mm, mm.
To him, that's no different to tipping a car guard
Yeah.
3,000 euro.
Mm,
Do you then start attaching value to that guy just because for him that money came from abundance, so it
yeah.
means nothing. It means nothing
Ayibona
anyway.
lori itswile ko account-ong ya hae.
Nah, nah. And you sitting there and you feeling valued because he spent
Yeah.
more on you than this poor guy. Do you see the problem in that
Yeah.
analogy as well?
Okay.
So basically, what I'm saying is, the in betweener is somebody who sits there and says, "Okay, fine. Do you take time to just give me attention?
Mm,
Do you treat me with respect when I'm here rather than treat me like a commodity?
mm,
Do you, if we honor on that date, and it's got nothing to do with how much you've spent, but rather on, do you spend 3/4 of the time telling me about the tender how the purchase order how? Because if
mm,
you do that, then fine, you've spent a lot of money on me, but what was the point?
mm,
Because it was not about me. It was never about me.
mm,
We didn't
mm.
sit there and you took some time to just learn who I am, to hear me. To am I able to pick up the phone and call you when I've had a bad day?
Yeah. Or stuck somewhere, got petrol or
There we
lithium
go.
or whatever.
There we go.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we go. So
And the
basically,
question
what
was
I'm
also, sorry to interrupt you, the question was also out of all the people you have on your phone book, males, how many of them would come to your rescue now? And this goes for all the type of scenarios, all these girls that we mentioned, Hora, how many of
sure.
these guys would come run to your rescue, basically, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's once again, does that discount a guy who doesn't have a car?
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm. So, Linda, what do you think is the problem with the modern male when it comes to dating? I know we've spoken a lot about women and we've put the spotlight on them, but what do you think is the problem with the modern male and how they're dating now?
Easy pussy. That
So
is
problem ka banna
that.
ba hona tje ke easy pussy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Break
Think
it
about
down.
it. We
So
are
one way
not
or another, it
required.
always comes back to us most.
No, 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 not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, I'm talking to women now. I get.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, you actually have men and women in here, but I wanted to know what
do
is it that
okay. Let me tell you where I'm going with this. All right. The fact that there are women who are willing to sleep with a guy because he spent money, like we just spoke about now, right?
yeah.
The fact that there are women who are, you don't even have to ask her out, and
Mm,
suddenly she's your girlfriend.
mm.
You o romela di good morning le di good night 5 days in a row. By day 6, setse le bitsana ka di pet name, setse le motho wa hao. This guy is not required to actually make any kind of commitment, but somehow la jola. I see a problem with that. I see a
Mm.
problem with the fact that relationships are no longer, they don't need to be declared anymore. This is the same kind of guy that would then, if you bump into him, Atamale, his real woman, he'll be like, "No, I don't remember asking you out." And honestly, when you think about it, Luena, you'll remember, "Shap shap aso kang an shela this guy."
He's never asked me to be exclusive. He's
No,
never
he's
he's
never
never
asked
said
you
I
to be
want
his
you as my
girlfriend.
woman.
Yes,
Yeah.
at all. Now, I was being facetious when I said easy pussy, but you get my point, Jorge.
Mm.
When so many have made it so easy, why should you be making an effort? Like, there are guys who get
But
confused when they meet a girl who has standards, who's like, but hang on, that's not how you treat
I
me.
man, wait,
They sit
wait,
there and they
Linda.
go, but how? When there's 5 others who will let me do
Okay. But Linda, when when we make our pussies hard pussy, where does that
that.
leave our sexual needs? Are they not supposed to be met in the name of attaining
Okay, okay,
Linda to respect me? Where does that leave us? Ekare
okay.
lona manje le etsa ekare ke lona fela with sexual needs and whatever. Look,
No,
we
good
want
Lord, no.
love.
Not
We
at
want
all.
love.
There we go.
Uh,
There we go. See, that's where the, you've got to decide. Jorge, do you want to have
do I want my
sex?
sexual needs to be
Do,
met?
do, do you want sex, or do you want a relationship?
So you
And
can't
you'll
get sex
approach
in a
those.
relationship.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is, you'll approach those two things very differently.
Okay.
So, if this thing comes along and you don't care about the feelings attached to it, you just want your sexual needs to be met,
No, I want you to like me, but I also want you to egg me, to mount me.
then you
Why
need to
must I
kind
choose
of,
one over the other?
no, 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 you don't, but you've got to prioritize. Okay,
Oh, okay.
let,
Put
let,
put put
let,
a hold on this one while I pursue this one. And
while you're
oh,
pursuing
Linda,
it,
wait. Then in that case, because with you I want love, is it okay for me to go and outsource the mounting and climbing somewhere else? Because there
oh,
my
oh, oh,
priority is not love.
yes and no. Because when you now think about it, when you do that, I mean, one of the things you are trying to do with this relationship is, you're trying to build something, correct?
Okay.
You're trying to build something. You
With
want,
you, I'm trying to build
I
something,
guess what
but
I'm,
I don't want to appear as easy. But I'm human. I have sexual needs, so I'll outsource them while my focus with you is
do you know what? Let me tell you something. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having sex on the first date. In my opinion, there's absolutely no problem with that.
I we're not changing topic. That was not the
No,
topic. Topic
no,
iko
but
where now
let me
we say
let me tell you where I'm
easy
going with
pussy. So
this.
I'm trying not to give you easy pussy. I'm trying to
Okay,
prioritize you and be in a relationship with you, right?
okay.
And
Let me
that
let me
means
tell
I
let me
have
tell you
to.
let me tell you where I'm going with this. All right,
Okay.
we meet today. All right, and we immediately jump in the sack. The next day, the conversation becomes, okay, listen, hey, nah, I'm not looking for anything serious. I'm just I'm enjoying this. This is fine. Right? I say that. And you go, okay, cool. Because you don't want to seem pushy, you don't want to seem difficult, you don't want to seem
Or
whatever.
I'll change his
Hey,
mind.
yeah, I'll change his mind. I'll change this red BMW into an Audi.
Yeah.
Problem. Whereas if you say to me from day one, look, I jumped in the sack with you because I was horny. I jumped in the sack because I also have needs. But the reality is, now I want something more substantial. I'm not
Mm,
an arrangement kind of person. I would
mm,
much rather be in a relationship. This is who I am.
mm,
And
mm,
the relationship doesn't have to be with you. If you're not the guy,
mm.
if that's not what you're looking for, hey, I understand.
Do you
And
think
that should
women
be,
are afraid of asking for what they want?
they are afraid of putting it
So,
out
or
there.
is it being afraid, or is it being, I don't want to seem desperate. I don't want to.
It's
Are we
it's it's
afraid
it's
to?
it's all of that. It's almost like you guys are a hunter, and you don't want to make any sudden movements. Otherwise, you're gonna scare the springbok
Mm.
away. Do you know what I
So we
mean?
try and sneak relationships
You're
in. We
trying to
don't say,
sneak a
I want a
relationship. Yeah,
relationship.
yeah. Using stealth. You can't stealth a relationship. You
Mm,
cannot. Put it out there from day one, from the get go. This is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. This is the kind of person I am. And these are the things, these are my love languages. This is me.
mm.
All right.
Linda,
And
we have,
if you're cool with that, yep.
yeah. Sorry, I think we're gonna have to have this conversation again because I had aimed for a max of an hour. But it's so
Yeah, I
interesting.
know.
I'm loving this. We have a lot to talk about, right? Okay. So I think
True.
maybe let's bring in the married people because I feel like we've been talking so much about the dating and whatever.
About
In
dating.
marriage or wherever,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for me, I have clients that come to me and say, I've been married for so long. How do I bring back the spark? How do I? And I always see women
Oh,
initiating to bring back the spark in the relationship. Do men ever come to you and ask you how to bring back the spark in the
okay.
marriage? Do they ever?
I lost you even now.
Oh, okay. Um, I think I lost you. I think I lost you. I
No,
think Linda is okay. Wait, you're back.
no.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. Yeah, I'm not back.
Okay, our
You can't hear me.
connections kind of. Yeah,
You can't
I'm
hear me.
okay.
Hello.
I can't hear you now.
Okay. So guys, it seems our connection,
Nothing.
yeah, Kali Linda is bad. If it doesn't stabilize in the
Mm,
next 2 minutes,
no,
then I
uh,
am
like it keeps free,
buffing.
free. It's it's very bad. It's bad weather as well.
Oh, okay, I see. But Nkari, you are on par now.
Uh, uh,
Okay. It's
I've got
okay.
nothing.
Okay, it's okay. Linda, I'm gonna say my goodbyes to you. Um,
Totally frozen.
okay. I'm gonna say my goodbyes to Linda, guys, but he's been super amazing. I think I'm gonna have to bring him
Uh,
back to
can't hear a
have
thing. Okay, wait.
more.
Gone. Nothing.
Okay. Concluding, Linda. All right, guys, it seems where I have lost Linda. Connection high was bad, but I really appreciate his input. You can tell where he's got a lot to say. And clearly, we've got a lot to learn from each other as well, which is the point of these conversation. Yeah, Hore, let's get talking. Let's be frank. Let's own our truth. because it's not like we are winning. If we are losing as women, chances are you guys are losing as men. For us to be better women, we need men to be better men as well, and for vice versa. So thank you so much for joining the conversations. We will do this again tomorrow. I'm not sure who's my guest tomorrow. I'll actually let you guys know, but I'm planning on having a lot of people come and talk about dating, about intimacy, about sex, about marriage. You name it, we're going to be talking about it. I am signing out. Goodbye.